Hi, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. So excited you're here because we're doing a tag video today. I was tagged in this one by Lecton over at Reading from the Depths, and this one is actually an original tag created by him, and he explains this one so much better than I can, but I'm going to do my best. It's inspired by Wheel Turning Day, which is a Buddhist holiday, and Lecton goes into the Four Noble Truths. Keeping in line with the Four Noble Truths, this tag has 4 prompts, and we will just get into those. And I'm going to link Lecton's channel down below, as well as his video where he does this tag and he kind of explains what inspired the tag and all of that. So prompt number 1 is, what is your own personal philosophy of reading? How do you think about reading? What does reading mean to you? How does your reading life affect your non-reading life, etc.? I read for a lot of different reasons. I read for an escape, like just to distract myself from everyday stresses, everyday life, just to escape my reality. I read to learn and, to soak in knowledge. I read to explore emotions, and if I want to feel a certain way, I'll seek out certain books to feel different ways or to explore different things. I'll read for solidarity. If I want to just feel like I'm not alone in the world and I need somebody else going through what I'm going through right now, I'll read a book that just has that same sort of experience that I'm going through right now. But yeah, I read for all different reasons. And I'm definitely a mood reader, so I'll pick up whatever book I'm feeling right now. You'll notice, I don't go with what everybody else is reading all the time. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll go with the popular thing right now if that's what I'm feeling. But otherwise, I just go with whatever I'm feeling right now. I'm usually not with the times. You'll notice, like, I'll go with a book that's like 30 years old or whatever, because that's what I'm feeling at the moment. I just go with what I'm feeling. Also, I'm not a speed reader. I like to soak it in. I like to take my time. I really love books that I could really dig into and sink my teeth into and, soak in all those little details. I love books like that I can just take my time with. And then I don't mind a book that's quick and easy and a light read too, if that's what I'm in the mood for. A perfect example of one that I'm talking about where you can just soak your teeth into is my favorite, which is Phantom by Susan Kay. I've talked about this 100 times, but you can see that I've tabbed the crap out of it. I've read this one a couple of times, and I'm sure I will reread it a million times because it is my favorite. And it's the prequel to Phantom of the Opera. And I've tabbed the crap out of Phantom of the Opera too. And I've made notes in here about like how it related to the original. And because this perfectly fits right into the original, and it has some of the original events in here as well, because it fits like a puzzle piece right into it. And I put notes in here of how it fit in. And I mean, it's annotated and written all up and highlighted and everything else. So, but this is the perfect example. This is one, every single time I read it, I take my time and really sink into it. And I never rush through books. I'm not one of those people that feel like I have to read a certain number. I don't feel like I have to have a specific goal every year or anything like that. I don't challenge myself with numbers. I challenge myself with more of the type of books I read is more of the challenge for me than the number, if that makes sense. So that's more of the challenge for me. And then the part of the question where it says, how does your reading life affect your non-reading life? I would say sometimes I will neglect my responsibilities sometimes to read inadvertently. Like I will forget to eat sometimes if I'm reading. More so now, like a lot more so now, but I have to be reminded sometimes, like, hey, you need to eat or whatever, because I will get so into what I'm doing and so focused on what I'm doing that I will forget everything else. When my kids are home, it's different because they will remind me. Because I have that interruption when they're home. They're always needing something, wanting something, or whatever. But when they're at school during the day, and if I'm home, then I'll completely forget. I'll forget to eat all day, and it's a huge problem. I say it's a huge problem. Like, I have to almost set an alarm for myself to remind myself to eat or anything. If I have an appointment, I have to set an alarm to remind myself to get up and go to my appointments or whatever, because I get so focused if it's a good book. So that's it does affect that. But when the kids are home, it's different because they will force me out of my book, obviously. Number 2 is, when did you first come to think of yourself as a reader? Probably as soon as I picked up the first book. I remember as soon as I started learning to read, being fully immersed in it and falling in love with it as soon as I could, and being immersed in that story and finding this whole magical world that I didn't know about before, and learning that I could fully immerse myself into this world. And it was an escape from reality, and it was escape from the here and now, and this whole entire universe opened up, and that was it for me. That was it. It was first grade, and maybe earlier than that, but I think it was at least first grade. I remember Clifford the Big Red Dog, and I remember Amelia Bedelia, and it quickly escalated because I wasn't challenged with those books, and it quickly escalated, and I quickly got into spooky stuff. I got into R.L. Stein, and then I constantly needed to be challenged more and more, and it just escalated. And I was constantly looking for something more and more challenging and more scary, and I wanted to push myself further and further. And yeah, that was it. And I was the kid, like, if I was quiet, I was reading somewhere. Like, if they know where I was reading somewhere. And I would just find a quiet corner or a little hideaway somewhere, and I would just read. And I quickly found Dean Koontz, and I found Stephen King and things like that. And I remember I don't even remember how old I was, but I remember I was into Dean Koontz more than Stephen King back then. I haven't actually read a lot of Stephen King books, believe it or not, but the very first Stephen King book I ever read was The Green Mile. I had the one that had all of them all together, and it's the first book I ever read that got any kind of emotion from me whatsoever, and it completely destroyed me. Completely. And that's when I learned that books could actually bring out emotion, and books could actually have feelings with them. And yeah, completely destroyed me. And then it brought about a whole other side of me that I didn't know existed, and a whole other world that I didn't know existed. And that's when I started to explore feelings with books and started to look for other things. And yeah, I started to explore other genres, and yeah, it was opened up a whole other world then. But yeah, I've always loved reading. I've always been a reader, and I've always been considered a reader and a book nerd, and forever, since as soon as I started reading. Number 3, what are some goals or hopes that you have for your reading life? I want to get into more, well, first of all, since being a horror reader, I want to read all of Stephen King's books, because being a horror reader, I just feel like I need to. Even though I find his work hit or miss for me, sometimes I have a hard time with them because feel like sometimes they get a little rambly, they get a little long, but I want to read all of his work. I want to get into more series. There are a few series that I want to get into. Number one that I really want to read right now, and I really want to get into, sorry if you hear the lawnmower out there, I think there's a lawnmower going, but the number one series I want to get into right now is the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I want to get my hands on them, and it's by Matt Dinniman. They sound so fun. I've heard nothing but good things. They sound like an adventure, and I want to read them so bad. But yeah, I would love to get into more series. I've only recently started reading a little bit of series, and before my attention span couldn't do it, but I think I'm getting better at it. So yeah, series and Stephen King and maybe Dean Koontz, because it's been years and years. I haven't read a Dean Koontz book since I was in high school, and I think I want to get back into that as well. And also I would like to read some more classics as well. And number 4, what is part of your current reading life right now that is important or exciting to you? Halloween-a-thon is coming up. It's hosted by Kelsey with Slime and Slashers. She's already posted the announcement video. I'll link it down below, but I'm really excited about that. It's something I look forward to every year. And I have a few books for that already picked out that I'm excited about. I love Halloween so much, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's not just books, it's movies, it's activities, it's stuff like that. And I have like a craft picked out, I have some movies picked out, I have books, and I'm really excited about that. Other than that, I'm just getting back in the swing of things because I took a little break, and I haven't been able to buy books in a while. And so other than that, I'm just chipping away at my TBR, which is satisfying. But yeah, Halloween-a-thon is probably my number one thing that I'm most excited about right now. I think it'll be a lot of fun. There's not a prompt to tag people, but I'm definitely going to tag some people, hopefully find some that haven't been tagged yet. And even if you aren't tagged, if you see this, I hope you participate. I hope you do this one because it was a lot of fun. I really loved this one because it was thought-provoking and something that was really unique. Sorry, there was a bunny. So distracted. Anyhow, I will see you next Friday for my September TBR. Bye for now.